Hello, hello, hello. Mic testing 1, 2, 3. Hello, hello, hello. Hello, this is my first recording. Let me check if it. Yes. Cool. You guys can see my screen? No? Yes? Let me check. Cool. Today we are going to discuss SBF's policy proposal. So SBF is a co-founder of FTX. FTX is the biggest crypto exchange after Binance and Coinbase. It has the most trading volume. So SBF actually proposed few regulatory proposals. Basically, it's his ideas. It's not actually regulations, but he tried to tackle some of the most important problem in this space, and in this video we are going to discuss that thing basically. So if you are new to this channel, please subscribe. I'll be doing more live stream. This is my first live stream. If something is going wrong, I don't even know. So yes, so let's start. So first he talked about sanctions, allow list and block list. So basically he said he prefers block list because in block list everybody is allowed, and then few people who are like criminal or scammers, they are basically blocked. So he said that there should be some on-chain list which can be updated real time, can be managed by some government authority, and any funds which comes from that list should be sanctions. Or for example, let's say if there is a wallet or wallet address which is sanctioned, funds comes to you from that wallet. So usually your wallet is also sanctioned, comes into sanction list. Or for example, there might be cases where a party who's a scammer who just sent you the money even though you don't want it. In that case, if you just forward that money to a address which is provided by authorities or regulators, then your wallet won't be sanctioned basically. So this is first thing where he actually talks about having a list or maintaining a list of addresses on chain which are sanctioned basically. And then he also talked about some of the addresses who might have illegal activities or some sort of activities which they do not know is criminal or not, but they look suspicious. Then exchange and other parties, mostly centralized parties, can maintain such a list and share each other. So basically it's having a list of addresses which either suspicious or which are government is telling it's these are criminal address or these are related to some sort of crime. So have those addresses, so these companies, for example these exchanges, payment companies, wallets, they know that these addresses are problematic, and then any activity happens to those addresses, that can be taken care of. Okay, cool. So next he talks about hacks, and this is pretty interesting. So he talks about hacks in a way that, so for example, he says if there are a lot of hacks in crypto space. Everybody knows all the times hacks are happening, and this actually damage cryptos like overall space as a financial space. People don't think it's very safe because there are so many hacks happens all the time. So F, F, so SPF says that if there is a hack, for example, in that case, if the he proposal a formula which is called 5 and 5 formula, where if hack happens and person who hacked the money return the return 90% of the assets, which is has upper bound of 5 million. So basically, for example, if there is a $200 million hack happens, so hacker have 5% of the hacker can take 5% of the asset, which is around 10 million. But he actually proposed the upper bound should be 5 million. So if he or she returns the whole money other than the 5 million, then that uh, hack shouldn't be considered as a hack, and that hack should be considered as like bug bounty. There is one condition that before calculating this, he has to return all the money which are customers' money. So, for example, if there is a $200 million hack and $150 million is customers' money, So first he have to return it. So overall customer's money is intact, and then whatever the extra money is there, he can take 5% of it, or 5 million, which is the bigger basically. So this is the interesting one. The third one is asset listing and security. Basically is proposing, they will going to check all the assets which are either, they will check, there is a Hobby test which SEC use for, or authorities use to check if there is a asset is security or not. So they themselves going to do this test, and if there is an asset which they think is security, they will not in US markets basically. Now tokenized equities, and this is pretty interesting, where he actually pushes for having a stock trading on blockchain. So basically, he's saying whenever stock trading, currently stock trading happens, there, whenever it happens through a broker or something, there is at least 50 entities involved in that. And if in their case there is a high volatility, maybe some entities, for example, in case of GME trade, if you remember on 28th uh, January 2021, there is a huge amount of money made by people like Wall Street boys on Robinhood and other exchanges. And then because this clearing takes 2 days and there are a lot of party involved, then in this case there is a problem that those money which made by retail people might not be even credited to them, because there might be some broker in the middle who doesn't have the money to give it out. So basically he proposed that if this happens on chain, then it reduce all these intermediaries, and the settlements happen on chain very fast, quickly at the time of the trade execution itself. So that's pretty interesting use case, and I think it's pretty good one. Customers protection disclosure is basically talking about, I didn't read this part, but mostly it's about KYCs and all. I didn't find this part like very interesting. Then I went to DeFi, which was the most interesting part, where is all the conversation happening basically. So he says that DeFi, in case of DeFi, for example, let's talk about Uniswap. He says people who are hosting DeFi protocols or DeFi products website, or similar, something similar to that, or marketing those products, should have some sort of licensing or registration. And this is a very interesting part where I agree somewhat and I disagree at the same time, because it's not very easy. For example, if you talk about Uniswap are multiple things at the same time. Uniswap is a protocol which you and I can fork and deploy. So that's a code, basically, that's code part. Then Uniswap it also a company. I might, company might, name might be different. I think it's Uniswap Labs, but uniswap.com, yeah, uniswap.org, that's owned by a centralized company which comes under regulatory jurisdiction. So he's talking about that part where the website of that Uniswap should have a licensing or should follow the regulations, not the protocol part. Basically anybody can deploy that protocol, even the Uniswap can deploy that protocol, but from the website they should not enable all sorts of functioning, all sorts of features, and also follow all the policy proposals of, there is a sanctions address, they should not allow them. Now because this is the interesting part, I think that is correct. At the same time he also says if you are creating a DeFi product and you are marketing it, then you should have a license. And marketing is something I agree that there should be some sort of licensing to marketing DeFi product, or actually there should be some sort of norms where not everybody can market any DeFi product, because there are a lot of scams, lot of like, or there should be some proper regulations or some sort of proper industry guidelines, where what type of products or what type of things you should make live whenever market basically, because lot of time retail people don't understand what DeFi people are saying. So this is pretty interesting because he says decentralized code as speech. So code is a speech, we already know. Anything deployed on blockchain is sort of is a speech, you cannot ban it. At the same time he says the validators, for example Ethereum is not now proof of stake, and there are validators creating new blocks. So he says that validators should not judge what is in the block. So if there is some problematic activity in the block, they should not judge it. They just simply process the block, and that's pretty good. I think that's pretty good proposal where validators are just our infrastructure player who are just managing the thing. They should not block anything. At the same time, I think this proposal is where he says the hosted party should have licensing is not very straightforward. It's little trickier. For example, you unishop.org, your website can have license, but what about libraries like web3.js or the libraries or infrastructure where the these are like free open source code, but they are used to create those websites. So this is something which is interesting. And stable coins, this is also one of the major thing. And if you read usually regulatory, if you follow regulatory news, then you will see that whenever for example, in case of Mika, which is a market which is a European EU regulations, they actually emphasis on stable coins because they think stable coins are the biggest danger. They can destabilize economies if they are at this scale. So he's proposed that stable coins are very good in terms of democratizing payments, and I think it's pretty correct. And there should be proper norms of people who are issuing stable coins. There should be proper KYCs and everything. So overall, I think this is written in a very generic and people can understand it. I'll attach link, if or you can just Google it. Basically, there's a lot of talk about this currently. So I think this is pretty written in a very non advocate way, because whenever you read regulations, it's very difficult to understand them because it's just jargons and jargons and jargons. And this is very simplistic written format. He proposes a lot of things where if you are already exchange or service, you will understand why he's proposing these sort of things. But there is a lot of clarity needed in some sections. There's some good ideas here. For example, having some sort of policy whenever hack happens. In case of this hacks and accountability, I think this is pretty good idea. Having some sort of standard industry norm if a hack happens. Then this sanction list is something which I believe might not work, because what happens if there is a hacker who's trying to create a dust attack? He actually mentions it. But for example, let's say if there is a ban address and that address starts sending money to everywhere, maybe hundreds and thousands of addresses, then in those cases it will be very difficult to tackle those cases basically. Yes, but overall, this I think this is pretty good. Um, at least pretty good step forward, because we should have policy uh, ideas coming inside the industry. Otherwise, if regulators comes after this, they might not be very they might not be as justable as these ideas are. They might crack hard. They can stifle innovation if they do it single-handedly. So that can create problem. So this is my discussion, like my ideas on what I think about FTX founders SBF's policy proposal. I think it's pretty good step forward. There are some good ideas. There's a lot of things which need to be ironed out, but it's very good, good step basically. If you want to have like I'll keep doing these live streams continuously. If you can join me like every day this time only. So if you like this stream, please subscribe the channel, like the video. Thank you.